Hey everyone, welcome back. In this video, I am going to explain AWS PrivateLink. And you know why this matters? Because most engineers mistakenly rely on VPC peering or public endpoints to connect their services. This is more critical than you think, because every time your traffic traverses the public internet, you're introducing unnecessary latency and massive security risks. By the end of this video, you will know exactly how to keep your internal service traffic entirely off the public web. Let us dive into how PrivateLink works and how it changes the way you architect your cloud network. We are going to cover the dangers of public endpoints, the internal architecture of PrivateLink, and the exact steps to configure a VPC endpoint service. We will also walk through consuming these services across VPC boundaries and look at the most common misconfigurations I see in production. Watch the full video without skipping any content to understand it better. Before we get into the topic, a small request to you. I have already uploaded many technical videos on different technologies and tools. We share more knowledgeable content every day. So if you are interested in learning and want to improve your skills, make sure you have subscribed to our channel and joined our WhatsApp community. The join link is available in the description or scan the QR code shown on the screen. Let us get started. So what is the real problem with the traditional approach? When you expose a service using a public load balancer, you are forced to route traffic through the public internet. You need an internet gateway, a NAT gateway, and you have to manage public IP addresses. This creates a massive attack surface. Your service is now potentially reachable from anywhere in the world unless you manage complex firewall rules at the edge. It is not just a security nightmare, it also adds latency and unnecessary data transfer costs. So what is AWS PrivateLink really? It is a technology that allows you to expose services within your virtual private cloud to other virtual private clouds or AWS accounts in a completely private way. Think of it like a private, secure tunnel inside a massive office building. Instead of walking through the busy public lobby to get from one department to another, you use a restricted access service elevator that connects those two floors directly. No one else in the lobby can see you, and you never step foot in the public hallway. That is exactly what PrivateLink does for your network traffic. Before you start building, you need to ensure your environment is ready. You need an active AWS account with full permissions for EC2 and VPC management. You should have at least 2 separate VPCs already created. You also need the AWS command line interface installed and configured on your machine. You can verify this by running the AWS -- version command in your terminal. Finally, you must have a network load balancer deployed for the service you want to expose. If you do not have these, this setup will not work. Take a moment to review each point shown on screen. Here is the internal architecture of PrivateLink. The service provider, VPC, hosts the application behind a network load balancer. This sits behind what we call an endpoint service. The consumer VPC then creates an interface endpoint. This interface endpoint creates an elastic network interface that acts as the entry point for your traffic. The communication happens entirely within the AWS backbone, never touching the internet. On the provider side, you use the create VPC endpoint service configuration command. You pass the on of your network load balancer. We set the acceptance required flag to true. This adds a layer of security, ensuring you must manually approve any consumer trying to connect to your service. This is a critical step for production environments. The output gives you a service ID and a service name. This service name is exactly what you will share with your consumers. Without this specific string, no one can discover or connect to your endpoint. On the consumer side, you create the interface endpoint. We specify the VPC ID where the consumer lives, the endpoint type, which is interface, and the service name we just generated. We also pick the subnet where the elastic network interface will reside. This command effectively creates the virtual wire connecting the two environments. The output shows the endpoint is in a pending acceptance state. This confirms the request has reached the provider. Once the provider runs the accept command, this state will flip to available and the connection will be live. In a production environment, you would use infrastructure as code like Terraform. Notice how we explicitly define the security group IDs here. This is a senior engineer level detail. You should never leave your interface endpoint open to the entire VPC. Always restrict access to the specific application servers that actually need to talk to the remote service. When you apply this, the endpoint becomes part of your infrastructure state. This makes it repeatable and auditable. If someone tries to modify the security group, your next plan will show the drift, ensuring your private connectivity remains secure. A common mistake is a connection timeout error. This almost always happens because your security group on the interface endpoint is not allowing traffic from the client. The root cause is a missing ingress rule for the port your application is using. You fix this by adding a rule to the interface endpoint security group that allows inbound traffic from your client server on the required port. Let us talk about a real-world scenario. A logistics platform tracking 5 million shipments daily used to route their backend telemetry through a public API gateway. This resulted in data transfer costs of $12,000 per month and high latency spikes during peak hours. By switching to PrivateLink, they consolidated traffic within the AWS backbone, they reduced their monthly data costs by 40% and improved request latency by 60 milliseconds. This is a massive win for both performance and budget. So, when should you actually use this? Use PrivateLink when you need to connect disparate VPCs without overlapping network ranges. It is also the best choice when you need to expose a service to many different AWS accounts securely. Do not use PrivateLink for simple VPC to VPC communication where standard peering works perfectly fine. Also, remember that PrivateLink is TCP only. If you need to route non-TCP traffic, you will need a different solution like a VPN or transit gateway. To recap, PrivateLink eliminates the need for public IP addresses on your internal services. Your traffic stays entirely within the AWS global network backbone. Always remember that manual acceptance is a vital security feature for cross-account service sharing. And finally, security groups at the interface endpoint level are mandatory for least privilege access. You now have the knowledge to secure your network architecture effectively. I believe this video will definitely be a useful video. If you liked the video, please do like and hype the video. Also share it with your friends and groups. It may be useful to somebody else. If you have any doubts or any requests, please let me know in the comments. Make sure you have subscribed to stay updated for our regular videos. Join our WhatsApp community using the link in the description because we share more knowledgeable content every day. Thank you for watching. See you soon in the next video.